I think. Okay. Wave hello, Jordan. Tell me when we're live. We're ready.
Ready whenever you are.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, guys.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already
I
here,
never know which
meet
side is the
today's
future.
future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes
Pretending
away?
this is a watch.
Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the voice who gets me on the air. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here. This is my live streaming, long running show, Technology Revolution, the future of now. And funny thing, I came up with this name brainstorming with two very bright people about 8 years ago. It took us 20 minutes on the phone. We saved millions of dollars in rebranding fees. So there you go. If you ever need a brainstormer, I'm here. We're going to go back to a very popular topic today. I have two very featured guests. And we're going to talk about the future of automotive and AI. We're not going to do the usual vroom vroom with car. We might get a couple of car stories there. I'm not sure if Sam has one, but I think Vic has one for us. So I'm going to do my introduction. And by the way, before I introduce my two guests, I have to tell you that today in history, Sam, are you ready for this? Music history. This might
Yeah.
resonate with you. And Vic, in 1978, on this day, Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell album began a 416-week run on the album chart in the UK. Are you both impressed? Do you remember that album? I
Oh,
thought that
yes.
I thought that. See, I had a feeling that would resonate. Today is Johnny Appleseed Day. Go plant an apple tree. Oatmeal nut waffles day. Never had them. Plumbing day and prom proposal. Anybody plan to go to the prom? Now's the time to get the invitations ready. So let me start off and let's do the formal introduction here. So welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now. The future of automotive and AI. Where to? We're going to explore how. Bonnie D on her Scarlett Mic is leading the ride with Sam Fiorani, Sam Wave Hello, and Vic Inglese, each a futurist guide. Will AI help vehicles learn, adapt, and steer, transforming mobility mile by mile, year after year? From smart factories to roads that think ahead, where data and design reshape the path our tires will tread. I thought that rhymed very nicely. Tune in and lean in as innovation takes the floor. The future of driving may be closer now than ever before. So here we go, Sam. I have a special introduction for you. This is your life, Sam Fiara. At just 3 years old, young Sam first took the wheel with glee, an Eldon electric Corvette, his first taste of velocity. He learned to steer and parallel park across the living room floor, and that tiny car sparked passions that would guide Sam evermore. Sam was raised in Pennsylvania towns where Altoona seemed big city grand, with a state police captain father and a mother's steady hand. Not drawn to sports, but numbers, puzzles, engines, gears, and art, math class, 4-H, and curiosity all shaped Sam's eager heart. At Penn State, he studied economics, yet cars still led the way. Mentors, dealers, collectors fueled the dreams that grew in Sam each day. For decades now, he's analyzed the industry's grand tide, writing marquee histories and judging concourse events far and wide. At Boyertown's Fame Museum, Sam's programs bring the past alive, where polished chrome and classic cars gleam bright and proudly thrive. Board member, writer, scholar, where everything meets the page, Sam joins our cockpit, bringing horsepower to our stage. Welcome, Sam. I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, that was great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Okay. I knew he would like that, Vic. All right, Vic, you ready? I had to do a new one for you because you've been on a couple times. Here we go. In the Bronx, where buses rumbled and the subway ruled the day, young Vic dreamed of open highways far beyond the city's sway. With Ralph Camden style bus drivers in the rumble underground, cars seemed rare and magical when one came rolling round. Then 9 a.m., Vic's 16th birthday, DMV certificate in hand, learner's permit was the first step toward the driver's promised land. Driver's ed, then license earned, independence felt so great. Vic's trusty 66 Comet Caliente soon rolled through the gate. Then from Bronx streets to balance sheets, his studies led the way. Finance, accounting, mercy, and LIU shaped the path Vic would stay. Investment banks and software firms soon filled his working days. Then Mercedes called, Vic, where global auto strategy would blaze. Through Daimler Chrysler's merger storms, Vic navigated corporate tide, where horsepower met high finance and two empires tried to ride. Now advising GM, Toyota, and suppliers far and near, Vic joins our cockpit today. Keen insight, topped with a classic hat. We cheer. Welcome, Vic. What'd you think?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Very
welcome.
nice.
So, with our visionary panelists, the road ahead looks bright as AI transforms automotive with roadworthy might. From factories to highways where smart systems ramp into view, we'll explore how AI is reshaping what our vehicles can do. So, I'm glad you both enjoyed that. Sam, you ever been introduced like that before?
Not quite like that. No, not at
I,
all.
I didn't think so. Welcome to my show. There you go. Okay. So, Sam, I'd like to put you on speaker view, let everybody see you and your background as well. And we'd like to know a little more about you. And why don't you explain AFS? I didn't do that in my opening, and we really want to know. So, take a couple minutes and welcome, Sam.
Oh, thank you very much. Auto Forecast Solutions has been around since 2014. The team that formed Auto Forecast Solutions has been together for mostly 30 years. And we've worked for all the major analytical firms and providing automotive forecasting and analysis. We've been working with everybody, and it's been a strong team, and we're doing a great job providing information for the industry, for manufacturers, for suppliers, for financial houses, anyone looking for that kind of detail.
Very, very interesting. And Sam, what do you do in your spare time when you're not publishing AFS and researching?
Well, I do some automotive history. I write for a Collectible Automobile magazine on occasion.
Oh,
I'm on the board of the Boyertown Museum, as you mentioned, and I work. I'm the president of the International Motor Press Association at the moment too.
what is that like? Who are the members of that association? What is it like? Who do you work with?
They're journalists, mostly in the New York City area, but going as far as New England and as far south as Virginia. It's been around for 60 years, and we're just trying to keep journalism alive in the automotive industry. We put groups together to show what's going on in the industry. We host a breakfast at the New York Auto Show. We have test days where we get to drive cars around racetracks. It's a great group of people, and any journalists on the East Coast should look into the group.
You lead an interesting life. I want to know what's for breakfast. What did I mention? Those funny waffle something nut pancakes? I don't know if that's what you serve, but that sounds good. Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to meet you. And the reason you're here, I think somehow I got on your mailing list and I started getting your AFS newsletter. And I said, what's this all about? And I went to you and said, come on the show. And here you are. So, see, that's the power of networking, even if it's subtle. Vic is back. Vic, why don't you update us and put you back in speaker view so everybody can see that wonderful hat? Rumor has it you had it blocked for me for the show today. I'm very,
Mm.
very, very flattered. Why don't you tell us what you've been up to, Vic? Welcome back.
Yeah, so I've been working with Tatum, which is a division of Randstad, and I am building an ERP practice for them. We are, and it's a number of interesting RFPs for some municipalities, and we are out there finding people and doing a good job. Other than that, just the same grind, accounting, finance, SAP, and all the other ERP.
All the other, there you go. Very interesting. What are you driving these days, Vic? Am I allowed to ask?
I'm still driving a Macan, which
Okay.
is in the background,
Yes. Can we see?
but
Move just a little bit. Can we see it? There you go. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Sam doesn't know the story, but I'm a Z driver, Sam. I own five from the time of the what was it, the 350s through I got the 370. Even before that, I think I had the 280. I had the Nissan 280, the 260, the 350, the 370. Somebody's got a puppy who's barking there. And finally, there was an unfortunate accident that totaled the car, just the rear panel, but the insurance wouldn't let me drive it anymore. So I ended up with a black Z4. So I'm the Z driver girl. And when I was driving the Nissans, men used to stop me at the entrance to the Midtown Tunnel, New York, ask if I'd sell them my car. I swear to God. It's like, lady, I'm in lane 5, you're in lane 4. What do you want for it? It would those were pretty sharp cars in different colors. So anyway, interesting. I'm not a car person, but I enjoy a nice ride. So let's move on. Let's go to our opening quotes. I've asked Sam and Vic to please send me a fictional quote from a movie or a TV show or a song lyric. And Sam has picked something from, let's see what we've got here. Telegraph Road, a song by the British rock band, well, Dire Straits. Does it get any better than that? Written by Mark Knopfler. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The opening track of their 82 album, Love Over Gold. It was first played as a live encore of the opening concert of the band's Making Movies Australian tour in 1981. It became a staple of their tours. And anybody doesn't know where this is, Telegraph Road is a major north-south 70-mile thoroughfare in Michigan. Mark was inspired to write the song while riding in the front of the tour bus as he was reading the novel. I hope he didn't get car sick. Reading the novel Growth of the Soil by Norwegian author Knut Hamsun. He put the two together and wrote a song about the development along Telegraph Road and the changes over the decades. So the quote Sam has selected is, "Life was just a bet on a race between the lights." That's provocative. Sam, why don't you relate that to our topic today? Go.
Well, we're looking at the future, and we're looking at where the automotive industry is going. And I thought this is connecting everybody to the automotive industry. Telegraph Road is a very deep description of the evolution of a city, from the settlers all the way to the modern time, and it shows how each of us uh, develop over time and have our highs and lows. And I thought the song fits really well. It's a grand song. It's half the album. It's a very long song.
Very, very interesting. Have you ever been to Telegraph Road?
Oh yes, of course.
Oh,
Yes.
of course. Okay. I've never been to Michigan. So, Vic, have you ever been to Telegraph Road?
I used to work on Telegraph Road, the American Center.
Okay, well, great meeting here. This is very interesting. Okay, thank you very much, Sam. Very, very interesting. Vic, we're going to go to your quote, and it's from the movie Jurassic Park, 1993 sci-fi adventure film directed by the one and only Steven Spielberg. And the quote is stated by Dr. Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum. I first saw him in The Fly years before Jurassic. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie. Just dated myself. Okay, Dr. Ian Malcolm is a fictional character from the Jurassic Park franchise. Anybody living under a rock or a dinosaur? Created by Michael Crichton and portrayed by Jeff Goldblum. Malcolm is a gifted, skeptical, and sarcastic mathematician from the University of Texas at Austin who specializes in, now this is something I never knew was a major, chaos theory. Vic, is that a real college major? Sam, is that a real college major?
I believe there is a study of chaos. Yes.
Really? Okay. I was just taking mathematical logic when I was in college. We had a chaos of its own. So here's the quote you have picked. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. I think that's a poem. Vic, what does this have to do with our topic today? Future of AI, future of automotive A plus AI. Go.
Well, just as you say, they wanted to do it, but didn't know whether they should. And a lot of the things that we're applying AI to may come back, and we may find that they aren't as helpful as we think. So you really need to look at the overall ramifications of how you're using a technology before you put it in practice.
Okay, I like that. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going back to gallery view. I just heard an interesting story, just a drop controversial this morning, but I get a lot of AI focused newsletters. And a group of authors just published books with one page. The whole book was empty, and the only thing on it was the name of the author. And that was to say to AI, don't steal my content. Interesting. A whole cadre of authors just did that. I thought that was, I'm going to send it to about 30. I do shows with authors, and I'm going to send it to them and see what their reaction is. Okay, let's go on now. Let's go to our predictions. So, Sam, I'm going to read your prediction number one. I'd like you to take a couple minutes to unpack it, please, and then we'll see what Vic has to say. And then we'll do one from Vic, and we'll go back and forth. We've got enough to fill most of the hour, I think. So let's see where we're going. Sam says, this is captioned, advancements in AI will help provide quicker decision making at lower costs. I think we all like that. You say, depending on the topic, research can take hours, months, days, or years to get proper answers. Having an AI assistant predict component wear, vehicle impact results, and manufacturing bottlenecks can help shorten development times and eliminate time and money wasted. I'm going to stop there and let you finish the rest of that for us. Sam, please go ahead.
Well, in manufacturing, it takes a lot of planning to make sure that everything's flowing right, that there aren't any bottlenecks, that something unforeseen doesn't stop the line from moving, and having AI be able to move forward and showcase many steps forward without actually building the assembly line could help move things forward and stop these potential problems before they actually happen. Uh, we see that with everything from our research in analysis for sales, for anything where you have to plan out many steps down the road. You could have AI look at that, plan them out, kind of like chess, where you get to look a number of steps ahead and make sure that you're going the right path. It makes it a lot less expensive, and in the end, a lot less expensive when you don't have to go back and re-engineer the whole process.
Thank you. Vic, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Having worked in a company that might have had those assembly lines, and it was interesting because if you ever drive by the Chrysler headquarters in Auburn Hills, in the bottom level of that building, actually there is a mocked up assembly line where they do prototyping for new vehicles. The other interesting thing as an aside to that is that building was only built if they could make it into a mall if Chrysler ever failed, because they were always on shaky ground. So if you go into the building, it actually looks like it could be a 4-story mall. There's only one tower to it.
Interesting. A lot of history here. Thank you very much. Sam, anything you want to add to that before I move on?
No, no, that's we're looking at making sure that everything fits together and doesn't cost as much as it has in the past. These things, all these analysis for manufacturing, for processing, for everything takes a lot of time, and time is money.
Absolutely, and that's tight right now. So thank you very much, Vic. We're going to go to your prediction. I'm just going to do these in the order I've received them. So Vic, number one is the rise of the agentic in-car companion. So we're going from the factory into the car. You say by 2027. Last I checked, it's March 11th, 2026. So we don't have long to go. By 2027, your car won't just follow orders. It will act as a proactive agent. It will notice you're running late for a meeting. Uh-oh. Check your calendar, suggest a faster route, and automatically send a running late text to the participants while optimizing your remaining EV range. Vic, that's a lot. That is a lot to handle, even for a human being. So how will Agentic do this? Tell us.
Well, it will be taking data cues from the traffic that's coming. It reads your calendar. It says, okay, you're an hour and a half away and you have a meeting in an hour. Let people know, and also optimize the route you're going to get you there quicker. So it's a whole bunch of information feeds, not only that live today. Your car collects data. Your car collects a lot of data, but it's primarily used for, being a little predictive in maintenance, and it's not interacting with the rest of your what I'll call digital world. Now you're going to integrate your digital world with the car's digital world to become one, so they can act with each other and put together things that have to occur or predict, or oh gee, you have a appointment for a dinner meeting, let's say, and you can potentially set your order to the restaurant so it'll be ready for you to eat. There's a whole bunch of different things this is going to do.
Think about the human side of needing to train the AI. And would Sam get a message that says, "Hi, Sam, this is Vic's car. Vic is running 12 and a half minutes late. And by the way, he ordered the Alfredo fettuccine and broccoli steamed with slivered almonds. What would you like me to order for you?" Sam, react, please. What do you think of his prediction? Is it going to be here by 2027? Sam.
We're already seeing parts of it.
What?
Cars today already do parts of these things, and we're going to see the next steps where, as Vic predicted, the car itself will understand what you're doing. It already syncs up your phone, so it already has access to your calendar. Just putting all these pieces together will make your life easier. It will really nicely let everybody know that you're going to be late. The interacting with the car is just the next step in all this data collection, and we're going to see a lot of it in cars from the bottom to the top, from the luxury cars down to your entry level models. It'll happen all the way across.
Down to the entry level models. Now, I'm going to mention a word that comes up from time to time that we need to talk about briefly here: privacy. Who owns the data? You, AI, the car, the manufacturer, the insurance company. It's a lot of tentacles there. Vic, what do you think? What about the
Well,
data? Access to your calendar, to everything. How much do we want to give it?
well, that's when you have to look at what the guardrails are going to be
Mhm.
around where it's shared. So it may be only for the consumption by the driver, and then it can be shared based on his inputs to it. Right now, it appears that the data about the vehicle belongs to the car, but it's also used by the manufacturer slash mechanic to
Mhm.
troubleshoot the vehicle. So you're really going
Mhm.
to have to look at those guardrails as this goes forward.
Interesting. Sam, thoughts, please.
Yeah, guardrails is a good point to put in there, because we're not going to right now there are no limits. And this is one of the reasons why we don't have Chinese vehicles on the American roads. The data that is being collected in these vehicles, it can be used against people. So,
Mhm.
as you mentioned, insurance companies, do you want the insurance company knowing that you were doing 80 in a 55 zone? Do you want the Chinese government to know that this is your route every day? That every day I go to work, to the grocery store, and home, and I take the same route. All these pieces of data are being collected right now, and the ownership of them is kind of in flux. You do not own your own data right now, once it's attached to your phone and out into the internet.
That was my point. Thank you. I watch a lot of detective shows, French and Italian and Spanish, and that way I have to pay attention to the subtitles. My French isn't what it used to be. But recently, they were looking for a perpetrator who tried to kill a woman who was a police academy trainer. And they said, "Oh, it's somebody who's mad at you for what you did. Somebody who's mad at you for filed a report on them." And then they realized it was somebody who came from another point who somebody else wanted to kill her, but it wasn't directly the person. So the question was, who's following her movements? Who knows? She'll be at the coffee shop at 8:15 every morning ordering XYZ. Who knows that she always goes to the grocery store on Wednesdays? So this comes up with, look what AI could have done for those people, right? If they had access to her car AI, knowing everything, where she goes, when she opens the door of the car, when she closes the door of the car, when lights go on, when the radio goes on, everything. Vic, any thoughts about that?
Oh, you know, it's to me, it sounds like it's an automated Columbo. One more thing.
One more. Oh, that was good. I wish I had a sound clip of that. That was really, really good. Yes. So, yes. So we don't really know who has access to how much. When people say, Oh, how did they know? Well, the answer is you told them. You posted it, right, Sam? You posted it on Facebook. How'd they know you're going to be on vacation for 5 days and went to Bermuda and stayed at this hotel and the babysitter was walking the dog every day from 8:15 to 9:42? Because you posted it. Or maybe they knew it from something you did that was connected to AI. We're telling, and we talk about privacy. Seriously? You know about the horse trying to get it back in the barn after the door's already open? I think we're past that. We've been talking about this forever. Okay, I'm going to move on before I get in trouble here. Let's go to Sam. I'm looking at your prediction number two. This is interesting. There's the hope that AI could weed out less profitable and annoying work, such as cold calls to obvious dead ends. Now, I wasn't sure what this meant, and I asked you to explain it. Let me read a little bit. For example, on the retail automotive end, salespeople spend time looking for prospects where a properly trained AI system could call the list to the potential buyers with the best chance of buying a vehicle by searching databases for recent registrations. They already bought something. News reports, why the prospect might or might not be able to make a purchase, or even obituaries for personal experience. I'm going to stop right there. That's creeping me out. Okay, Sam, tell us what this really is about. Go ahead.
Well, back in the day when I sold cars, which was three lifetimes ago, uh, it, we had a cold call sheet. We had a sheet where you went through and said, these are the previous prospects that have bought a vehicle in this dealership. And you would just go down through and call them and say, are you ready to buy again? Well, I can clearly remember, and honestly, this was like 35 years ago. I can honestly remember a woman crying to me on the phone when I asked for her husband who had just recently passed away. So if you could get this data and take this list and run it through AI and have it check all the databases and know that that person was dead, I wouldn't have to make the call. Finding out that the person bought a car already, I wouldn't want to make the call that they bought a car 6 months ago. They're not in the market right now. There are a lot of pieces of data on the retail side that could be cleaned up and make the whole process much easier and much cleaner and much less expensive. It takes my time away from finding a good customer when I have to deal with deceased customers or customers who have already bought a car.
Thank you. Vic?
Well, it's interesting because when you take that even a step further, the what I'd call the people who abuse the um, car sales business, where they'll call 10 different dealers and say, "Oh, I want the best price," and they pit them against each other instead of just showing up and getting what they want. You'd be able to see a pattern of that type of behavior, potentially through a shared system through the dealer network. It's interesting. You see people who I belong to a Facebook site that have dealers on it, and the stories that you hear from the people that are abusing, annoying them, screaming at them, and leaving really nasty messages to these people. It's just not fair.
I have a funny story for both of you. Vic knows, and Sam doesn't yet, that I started a show on January 1st. Every weekday morning, I do something called Say What? Good News. And I find little stories of no particular importance, nothing political, nothing doom and gloom. And today, in today's Say What? I will send you the link, Sam, and Vic. I think I already put it in because I did a shout out to you. And Sam, I'll add you to the shout out list just for fun. It's 4 minutes, by the way, Sam. 4 minutes every day. Today was 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Wow. Okay. There's a man who was an opera singer named Andrew Hires, Hiers, and he couldn't get any gigs. Where am I going with this? Why am I telling you this? Because he decided to start selling cars. So he is in a car dealership and he makes up operatic arias about the cars he's selling. He goes out to the parking lot, he wears his name badge, and he makes up a rhyme and sings it and advertises the car. He went viral. His first car he sold was a $70,000 used Corvette. And he made up a poem, and 1 million people saw the ad. Talk about trying to get out of potential, finding potential. Sam is way off the checking the list and who bought what, but it's very, very interesting. So he said, it's harder to sell cars. This is my point, Sam. It's harder to sell cars than he thought. So he said, how can I differentiate myself? So now he's the singing car lot opera star. Vic, any thoughts about that?
Well, it's interesting because it is harder to sell cars than people think, but also there's a very strict structure that most dealerships run on that has special layers and special people that go to empty the buyer's pocket more than the buyer would like in some cases. But so yeah, it's a very interesting business. There's a lot of people who do it for a very short period of time and then get out of it. And then there's people who have done it for life and couldn't think of doing anything more other.
Somebody named Sam just raised his hand.
Oh yeah.
Sam, talk to us. Tell us. What's the
No,
story?
very short period of time. I've always been a car person. I've always known everything about the car. In college I went to visit car dealerships, and my friends would laugh at me because I would correct the salespeople on their own products. But when it came time for me to sell cars, the closing was the problem. I could tell you the car, I can get you in the right car. I was not the proper car salesman type.
Well, my fear is always when they send you to the office of the closer and he takes out the books and he takes out the lists and he takes out the statistics and you need this much on the what is it, the motor train, and you need this much guarantee and you need this much extension of the warranty and you need this, and we have to add this protection and we got to add this coating and we got to add this tinting, and by the time you're done, the cash register is, it can't even say ka-ching anymore, it's saying ka what. And I always fear having to go into the office at the end of the car buying. Vic, you want to say something? What?
No, no, I tell them up ahead, hey, I'm an industry guy. Here's what I'm paying you for the car. I'm not paying for any of the extras. Here's the one extra I may want, depending on your price, and I'm done.
Okay, I'll remember that.
I can buy a car in a half hour
I'll
and be out of
remember.
the
I'll
door.
remember that next time. Well, when I had the unfortunate accident in my last white Nissan Z, my gorgeous, it was a red top and red leather interior and pearl white. It was just beautiful. Unfortunate accident. I was fine, but I couldn't find another Z. So I looked up and down in Durham. Sam, I don't know if you've ever been to Durham, North Carolina, but they have a car dealer row. But there's several of them, and I went from one to the other, and the minute you look for a Z, even on Carvana, anywhere, the minute somebody listed it, they were sold. I mean, they were faster than pancakes at a church because they were just going and going and going. And the funny thing was, out of the blue, I went to a Chevy dealer and looked at their used sports cars. And out of the blue, a young man in a golf cart pulled up. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know if he worked there. And he said, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "It's got to be an automatic." Don't hate me, guys. Got to be an automatic, non-smoker, no low mileage, fairly recent, good shape, two-seater or four-seater. And it would be nice if it had the name Z, the letter Z somewhere in the name of the car. And he said, "Give me 10 minutes, I'll be back." He took his little motor, whatever he was in, this golf cart, and he went 10 miles down the road to their sister dealership, which was a Land Rover, and they had a Z4 black convertible, low mileage, no smoker, automatic. And he brought it back 10 minutes later and he said, "How about this?" I didn't even know. Couldn't tell he worked there. He didn't have a uniform on. He was one of their, I guess they're salespeople, or they're find a car for difficult people a person. I don't know. But anyway, it was interesting. But Vic, they eventually put me in the back room and they said, "Okay." And I kept saying, "Nope, nope, nope. I don't want, okay, listen, it's been a half hour. Nope, 45. No, I don't want this. I don't want this. Can I just pay for the car, please?" And that was it. So that's the difficult. Vic, I have to bring you with me next time if I ever buy another car again. Okay. We'll do that. Thank you. Thank you for the insider tips. Let's go to your prediction number 2, Vic. This is interesting. Vic says, AI-driven prognostics over diagnostics. AI models running on the car's edge will analyze vibration patterns, battery chemistry, and sensor data in real time to predict a component failure weeks before it happens. OTA. OTA software patches to fix performance issues while you sleep will reduce roadside breakdowns. Okay, let's go with this. How is this going to help us? Vic, is it here yet? Coming soon?
Some of this is here, but right now, what happens is something goes wrong. You get a code. You go to the mechanic checks your code, says, "Oh, you need this, this, and this," and he might find 10 other things you need. But here, what's going to happen is it'll look at how things are wearing, how things are running, look at your oil composition as well, and say, "Okay, here's the timing we need. Here's what's going to happen when." So you would get a report, from your car, from the over-the-air software, would come to your phone and say, okay, your car, here's the 3 wear areas we're noticing. You should probably pay attention to these before you have a breakdown. And it's something that, it will improve over time, but it's starting to get there. It's just like, you have this concept of nano grease, which we're not using in cars because of the cost. But, in theory, if we had nano grease, you wouldn't need an oil change anymore, because that's how well it works within a machine. They've got these great simulations they've done on machines and factories, that when they have the nano grease, they're looking at 5,000 hours before they have any wear down at all. So it's just a very interesting concept. And
Wow.
that will, again, it doesn't tie directly to this, but it's just a concept that as you look at how things can change in the automotive world, this is what's going to happen.
Sam, thoughts?
Yeah, the idea that the car can tell you a little bit more about what's wrong is we've been seeing these steps prior to AI, with OBD2 in the 90s, where the codes were synchronized between all manufacturers. So every code was the same and every mechanic could tell you generally what was wrong with the cars, no matter what the brand was. I'm glad that AI is not in the car telling people what's wrong with the car, because I just bought a car at an auction that had an engine code up on it, and when we ran the code, it said it had a misfire, and I realized that the car probably still had the original spark plugs at 160,000 miles. And we replaced the spark plugs and all is fine. So I got a car at a discount because nobody knew what the engine problem was.
Interesting, interesting. One of my beefs with when you get, I don't know what you get, a change of, what do we get, a change of filters, anything. Certain dealers don't have the software to reset the warning that comes up on the dashboard. There is a way to do it. I've looked at YouTube and I figured out with a friend how to do it myself, but it stays, warning, warning, warning. You need to do this, you need to do this. And Vic, is that going to get any better? That will dealers and mechanics be able to reset those warnings for us and not have to worry about it?
Well, the reason they can't reset the warnings is they haven't paid for the license to have the proper equipment to do it. It's not a matter of they can't get it. It's a matter of you have to buy that particular license and upgrade every year. It's just like the maps in your car. And right now we have interactive maps with Google Maps and Waze. But when we used to have the first navigation systems, you had CDs. You got a new CD every year, and so it's a matter of paying for software. That's all it is.
I remember that. I remember I bought a car with an older GPS map and they wanted $300 to update it. And I said, no, I know where I live. I can figure out that they're taking me on GPS to 3 blocks away from my community at a stoplight, and I know how to get home. So I'm not paying it, but very interesting. Speaking about a license, I was turned down by a reputable car, shall we say, I needed to have the oil filter changed, and I was told to go buy it at Pep Boys or something like that. And I did. And I arrived at the place that had done the car the year before, and they refused to service the car. They refused to put up on the lift. They asked me to get out, and then they all circled around and said, no, this is a BMW Z4. We will not service your car. And I said, why? They said, it takes too long and it's too risky for us, because once we take the filter out and put it in, we can't get everything back together, and we no longer service those cars. I said, but I called up and you told me to buy the filter. I have it here I bought it, I brought it. And I said, listen, it needs to be changed. So they said, go down about a mile down the road. This was here near Knoxville. And somebody else will do it for you. And I went to another name brand and told him a story, and he couldn't believe it. I called the corporate office of the first mechanic company, and they had no idea why. They said it's at the discretion of the local dealer which cars they will service and which they will not. So they turned me down. I didn't know what was so complicated about putting an oil filter in a Z4, but they had a reason. Anybody want to weigh in on that? Do you know anything about this?
Well, I'm going to tell you something interesting about that. What
Yeah.
BMW is actually doing now. They've started to engineer their own bolts and screws and they'll be the only ones to sell the equipment to remove it.
Oh,
So
oh,
only an authorized BMW service, again, pay for the license. You're going to have to buy an additional tool if they'll sell it to you.
isn't that interesting? Sam, are you aware of this? Any thoughts about it?
Well, yeah, this has been a longstanding issue. Right to work on vehicles is going through different legislatures right now because problems such as these are popping up all over the place, and a vehicle needs to be able to work with your mechanic
Yeah.
because if it doesn't, then you're required to go to the BMW dealer. You're required to find somebody who has paid for the license, as Vic says, to get the tool, to get the know-how, to get whatever it is. Years ago, I worked for Chilton. I wrote car repair manuals, and at the time, we couldn't get certain data because the manufacturers wouldn't provide it to us. And during the time that I was working there, the laws changed, and from one project to the next, suddenly the manufacturer had to talk to me, and I got the information I needed. But prior to that, there was no right to repair. There was no reason why they had to give me the information and allow me to tell other people how to fix their cars.
I had no idea. I'm glad I brought it up, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I just thought they were being difficult. It was uncomfortable for me because I needed the filter changed. I was new to the area. I didn't know where to go. So anyway, I was very nice, especially when I called up and said, "Why won't you service my car?" And the woman really had no idea. Let's go on with more predictions. Sam, I'm going to go to your prediction number 4. This is interesting. Sam says, with all their downsides, all new technologies are scary at first, yes. And eventually, most of them become everyday items. AI will eventually be just another part of our lives, and people won't remember when there was a time before it. There was a time when navigation systems, here we're getting to the automotive part, were just a dream. And soon an AI enhanced system will anticipate changes to the route guidance, to the driver or passenger's needs, and to the vehicle's conditions. Engineers who once used slide rules, I went to school with them, to make calculations will harness AI in computer simulations to find an alternative solution to a problem, probably without much of a thought. So this is a more of a broad view, right? This is more of a big picture, 10,000 feet type of a view. And since we only have about 14 minutes left, why don't we go and do this, and then I'll pick up another prediction from Vic. So Sam, why don't you take us into this world? Go ahead.
Like I said about navigation, I'm on the board of the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles, and we have a display of navigation systems from 100 years ago. These are not new things, but now you get in any car and you expect it to be there. It's just part of getting into your car or using your phone or what have you. Everything, all that technology is right there, and it's part of your life. You just don't notice it. The problem goes back to, as Vic was saying earlier, that we don't know who owns the data. We don't know how much data they have on us. When you had the old school navigation systems that were on CDs or SD cards, that was entirely on you. You knew all that stuff. It didn't collect your data. Well, now we have interconnected vehicles. Manufacturers know everything. Your phone company knows everything. Everybody knows what's going on in your life. And so all this data is being collected and being monetized. It's a problem with it becoming secondhand use for us, that once we've given up the rights to it, we've given up the rights to it, and suddenly everybody knows everything about you.
I think they already do. Vic, thoughts?
Oh, no, it's absolutely, out there where all the data is shared. Sorry, excuse me.
Bless you.
Um, and you've got a situation where, all of this can be pulled together by your insurer, by your manufacturer, especially,
Hmm.
and also by law enforcement in case there's an accident or an incident. They can tell who's at fault, how
Yeah.
it's going to be at fault. So these things are, as they become ubiquitous, you don't stand up for it. You just think it's there. And this is part of those guardrails again. You really need them.
Really do. I'm going to go to your prediction number 4, Vic. We have a little more time, I think, for two more. You say the death of the generic test drive. Oh, this sounds interesting. Vic says dealerships will use generative AI and digital twins to create personalized test drive profiles before you even arrive. AI analyzes your daily commute, your family size. Talk about knowing everything, Sam. Your daily commute, your family size, your driving habits to suggest a specific trim and powertrain during the test drive. An AI co-pilot via the car's audio system will highlight features relevant, talk about customized only to you. Yeah, there's the Burger King, there's the school, there's the crossing guard. Yes, like demonstrating the automated parking assist specifically because it knows you have a tight garage at home. Now you're scaring me, Vic. How personalized will this be? Go.
It can be as personalized as the information they have on you. Okay. If they know you travel a highway every day, this is a great example just to bring reference. If the car dealer knew you had to drive up and down Telegraph Road every day in the Detroit area, it would definitely have a different car in mind for you than one if you're driving I-75 straight down to the south. It looks at the profile of how fast you drive potentially. It looks at what your fuel consumption you would like to have, whether you're a lead foot or a feather foot. Um, you know whether if you have a large family, it's a minivan, or if you do a lot of trips alone, maybe it's a two-seater. If you drive with the windows open, maybe you want a convertible. The more you know, the more they're going to look at this. I think we talked about this the last time I was on. We talked about how you're going to get a platform and potentially you'll be able to mix and match the piece of that platform and change it. If you want a different type of, like you have a platform that can have a pickup truck and you can bring it back and make it into a sedan. Because we talked about that was the possibility last time. So this is the kind of thing that can go on. And then again, the other interesting thing is it's going to point out features that are relevant to you. But I would say that a good 70% of the features that people think are relevant to them, they never use. I've had two vehicles that did automatic parking. I don't know how it would even work. Did not use it. Had a car. I had one vehicle that had this capability that if I was in traffic, I could take my foot off the brake and gas, and it would know when to speed up and slow down when you were dead stop. It was like I don't want. Those are things that they're no use to anyone,
Absolutely.
but they
When I
sell good.
they sell good. The lane change warning when you get too close to the line between lanes makes the car shudder a little bit. And when I discovered that's what the Z4 was going to do, I immediately got the book out and went online and figured, how do I disable that? Because it reminded me of the day that the car crashed because it lost tread on a rainy highway at 75. And I didn't want to remember that feeling of my car doing this motion as it got near the lane change. So I had to figure out, talk about useless, give me the mirror, tell me when somebody's too close, right? In the side, the little warning in the mirrors, that was enough. But I didn't want that feature, Vic, and I had to, as fast as I could, get rid of it, or I wasn't going to drive that car. So very interesting. Sam, thoughts on this? Things that you do or don't want to use, and how personalized do you want your vehicle to know you where you stop off and how lead foot or windows open? Sam, we want to know.
Well, as Vic said, as you walk onto a lot, the salesperson could know more about you and cater the process to you. I remember buying my first new car and going on the lot and explaining exactly what I was looking for, and the salesman stopped midway across the showroom floor to show before as he was showing me the car and said, "It's a stick shift." And I said, "Yeah, I know it's a stick shift. That's what I want." And we get out to the car and he realized as he unlocked the car, he said, normally I take it halfway around this test drive. I'm going to let you drive it the whole way. And as I'm putting my seatbelt on, I go, you don't know how to drive stick. And the salesman himself did not know how to drive a stick shift. And that's why he put me in the car. And that's why he caught me on the showroom floor. And like, he had he known that that's what I was looking for, perhaps a salesman who did know how to drive stick would be there, and better sell the car to me. Not that I needed to sold. This was the car I was coming in to buy, but have somebody who can actually drive the car to show me how the car works. That kind of thing is a big picture description of the thing. But if you do use the self-parking, if you do like the lane change, they'll explain things. If you don't like the lane change, they'll explain how to turn it off. Things like that. Knowing those things as you come in,
Yes.
the information is out there. You don't need to take a survey. Most of those things are on social media, are out there about you already. So just compiling it all, putting it together, giving the salesman a synopsis of it, and saying, "This is how you sell to Bonnie."
I like that. I do. I had to sit in my car with a neighbor who's very mechanical, and she and I went through an hour-long YouTube video on unlocking the secrets of the Z4, how to turn automatic trunk opening and how to fix this and how to fix that. And we were just laughing ourselves silly. And I'd play a little bit and she'd say, okay, let's look. Okay, we pushed this, we pushed that. Okay, no, we did this too fast. Let's turn. And we went through and we found 4 or 5 things that I really wanted to do. But I had to get a lesson in driving this car after I bought it. I had the young man who had the golf cart come drive it to the house the next day. And I said, I've never driven a computer on wheels. And that's exactly what it is. It took a while. The fact that it almost completely turns off at a stop sign or a stoplight and just goes quiet. It's like, oh my God, what happened to my car? Did it die? No, it just, and then it starts up again. So that was just brand new. We have about 4 minutes left. Go ahead, Sam.
Imagine test driving a car every week, which I do. So you get a brand new car every week, and I have to learn this car within 7 days in order to evaluate it because I don't have somebody teaching me each of these cars. It happens every day, and more and more the cars are becoming homogeneous. They're becoming having a lot of the pieces in the same place, but finding out where the start button is or finding out how to put it in gear in each of these vehicles is a learning curve.
We now empathize greatly with the salespeople. You just did a lot for humanity, Sam. I have one quick prediction here from Vic. We're just going to take a 1 minute run around this one. Vic says the software-defined revenue revolution by 2030, very specific. Vic, a significant portion of automatic profit will come from AI subscriptions, whether it's PaaS, performance as a service, unlocking more torque via software, or SaaS, safety as a service. That's a new one, Vic. Premium AI enhanced night vision. The vehicle you buy will evolve and gain new capabilities through its life cycle via AI updates. This is exciting, I think. That's like when I bought Photoshop. I now have the Adobe Creative Suite. I don't have to keep buying a $500 package of discs to load into and they automatically update it in the cloud for me, and I get the latest and greatest. We've got 3 minutes. Vic, you want to explain that one briefly?
Yeah, well, a great example is BMW.
Okay.
Sells, you have to buy the subscription to have heated seats. So all of the capabilities will be built in, but if you want to use them, you're going to pay additional money. But some of these things like increasing your it's kind of like, if you've been in the computer business, IBM will ship a computer with all the chips, they don't activate them all. When you decide you want to pay for them, then you get more memory, then you get more flops. So it's the same concept. It's just now expanding it to make your and they'll come up with new things that can be loaded through software that you may find you want. We right now, which I think is going to disappear at some point, is the Sirius radio. I think that's going to become more of an on-demand versus 15,000 channels that they have.
Yep.
So.
Yes, I just use 2 channels. Sam, if you could subscribe to something that would cost more, what would it be? We're not talking price, but is there something you'd like to know that you could have through AI in your car?
Well, I have the Sirius. I subscribe to that, but the problems are items like heated seats. We're used to having heated seats as an option so that it's there when I sell it to the next person. And when I sell it to the next person, it gives me an additional $50 or $100 in the sale. Having items like that as a subscription base lowers my value of the vehicle in the end.
Okay, gentlemen, I didn't know if we'd make it to the hour. So many great predictions. Thank you, Sam. I'm so glad you were able to join the show, and I hope you'll come back at some point with Vic, and maybe we'll get a third person, another part of the automotive, the third leg of the stool. We'll have to figure out who that would be. I want to thank both of you for spending time with me. I'm Bonnie D, and we're going to play some outro music from my new show, Say what good news. So let's listen up. Let's see if we get this to play. Come on. Okay. And thank you to Jordan Henson from Voice America Media Business Channel. Dance with me, Sam. Come on, you can dance. A little bit. We brought you some good news today. Hopefully the cars in your experience are getting better.
Morning coffee.
Make mine decaf. We'll go out in a second here. Wave goodbye, Vic. Wave goodbye, Sam. Almost done. Let the bad vibes fade. Hit play. Say what? Let's go.